Hello everyone! In this video we are going to talk about transient time history vibration test, its usage and setup in Rula TestUP software. Let's discuss the test usage purposes and some theoretical basics behind it. Transient time history captures the complete temporal profile of the shock input. It records the precise amplitude and timing of the shock waveform at each moment during the test. TTH test is typically recorded using high-speed data acquisition systems and sensors, such as accelerometers or strain gauges, which capture the instant response of the structure or device to the shock input. A shock accelerogram is formed by multiplying the base signal, sine, trapeze, etc. by an envelope. As the base signal is always formed in the range from -1 to 1, after multiplication, the acceleration by module will not exceed the envelope. The envelope, together with the base signal, provides smooth rise of the signal at the start of accelerogram and smooth signal fall at its end. It helps to eliminate sharp leaps of signal on the vibration shaker. The rate of signal rising and falling during the envelope edge and the duration of its fronts is specified by the user. This type of test enables running tests with shock pulses of different shapes. For example, it can be a sine shock, cosine shock, damped sine wave, teardrop, sine chirp, sawtooth chirp, sine, saw, square wave, random signal, enveloped random signal, enveloped random signal with PSD, and also you can import from file. TTH vibration test is usually used when we cannot cover the shock requirements with regular shock or SRS test. So now we can continue in our vibration testing software TestUP. I open the test selector and find TTH test. Then I click on the icon. Now we need to create a new test profile. Today we are going to make a square wave shock with an amplitude of half G, 10 cycles and 150 Hz frequency. By changing the ramp cycles value, we can change the number of cycles for the signal rising and lowering the level. Let's set it as 3. After that we press synthesize and now we can see the shock wave. Here in the bottom of the profile tab you can see the maximum values for the profile, information about the shock duration and calculated TEUP parameter based on millisteady standard. The next two tabs are used for shock response spectrum calculation. Let's go to SRS table tab and enable it. Here I will enter the linear profile from 10 Hz up to 500 Hz at 3G amplitude. After that I will go to the next tab and enable Make SRS calculation option. In that case, shock response spectrum will be calculated and you will be able to see the results on the graph. If you want to know more about SRS settings, you should watch our previous video. It will help you in this case. Today I am going to leave these settings by default. After that we go to schedule and we will add 2 more commands. In the first line we will perform 10 shocks. After that we are going to invert the shock. And in the final command we are going to switch to manual mode. So in the second line we enter 10 shocks and the final line will have 100 shocks value. In the control tab we will leave main settings by default, but I will explain some additional features. Use save drive option can be used to improve the startup speed of your test if you are running the series of identical tests using the same equipment. Single shock option increases the startup time, but in this case the system won't do any shocks during the startup. Also, you can set the initial drive value, which will be used during the startup, but you should know this value and be really careful with this parameter. Finally, in the Limits tab we check the shaker, and after that in the Channels tab we set channels configuration. and now we are ready to start the test. Let's open two additional graphs, oscilloscope and SRS versus frequency graph. After our 10 shocks in the first command are done, we see an inverted shock. After we have performed all our inverted shocks, we switch to manual mode and press this button to perform a shock. That's all for today. I hope you learned something new from the video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to our channel and press the like button. It will help us to make more videos for the channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.